We get into it, whoop-de-woo. He stomped me out. Then he had me bark on a live stream. Like, I don't know when the last time I humiliated myself like that.
Oh, buckle up, because this one makes love and hip-hop look like a Disney movie. The streets are whispering, social media's on fire, and once again, Chrisean Rock's name is trending for all the wrong reasons. Or maybe all the right ones, depending on how much chaos you enjoy with your morning coffee. Reports just dropped that Blueface allegedly put hands on Chrisean again, and before the dust could even settle, Chrisean pulled up, not on him, but on Angela, the woman the internet's now calling the other half of the disaster. And trust me, the way this unfolded, it's pure cinematic madness. Picture this, Chrisean in full rage mode, lashes fluttering like warning flags, marching up like she's starring in Fast and Furious, Toxic Edition. Cameras rolling, fans screaming, Blueface ghosting, and Angela standing there like she just realized she's accidentally auditioned for Surviving Chrisean Rock. What happened next? Allegations, leaks, tears, broken phones, and live streams that could crash the internet. This isn't a breakup, this is a battlefield. And once again, Chrisean didn't come to talk. She came to finish what Blueface started. When the story first broke, it didn't even sound real. People thought it was another internet rumor cooked up by a fan page chasing clout. But when that clip dropped, the one showing Angela grinning ear to ear next to Blueface, the entire internet went code red. That video spread faster than wildfire in a gossip forest. Within minutes, blogs had it. Reaction channels dissected it frame by frame. And fans were in the comments writing things like, "Oh, Chrisean about to blow up." And they weren't wrong. Because for Chrisean, this wasn't just another girl smiling at her ex. This was betrayal wrapped in lip gloss. The woman who had stood beside Blueface through scandals, lawsuits, fights, jail time, and more drama than a Tyler Perry marathon was suddenly watching the man she fought for, bled for, and tattooed all over her body standing cozy with another woman. The internet didn't need confirmation. They crowned Angela the new villain before Blueface could even log off. By midnight, Chrisean had gone silent on social media, which in her world is the digital version of an earthquake warning. Fans knew the calm wouldn't last long. People were screenshotting her old tweets, replaying her Instagram lives, and counting down to the inevitable explosion. And then it happened. That infamous "I'm pulling up" video. No background music, no filters, just pure rage wrapped in heartbreak. Her voice cracked like lightning, her tone sharper than a diamond blade. "I'm tired of this, yo. I'm pulling up," she said. That's all it took. The internet split in half like Moses just parted the gossip sea. Half the people were like, "Get him, sis!" And the other half were clutching their pearls, praying for peace. But deep down, everyone knew Chrisean Rock doesn't do peace. She does payback. Meanwhile, Blueface was playing his usual disappearing act. He wasn't posting, wasn't tweeting, wasn't even lurking in the comments. People started tracking his last known locations like it was a celebrity version of "Where's Waldo?" Some claimed he was at a private party. Others said he was ducking both Chrisean and reality. And Angela? She was busy posting motivational quotes like every side chick who just realized her 15 minutes of fame might end in handcuffs. But here's where things get messy. That pull-up wasn't just about Angela. Word started spreading that before Chrisean made her move, she'd already heard rumors that Blueface had gotten physical. Not just yelling, not just arguing, actual hands thrown. That's when the line between gossip and danger started to blur. Because this time, it wasn't just about infidelity. It was about survival. Fans noticed her bruised lip during a brief Instagram story. She deleted it within seconds, but screenshots had already made it to the blogs. People started piecing together the timeline, connecting dots nobody wanted to believe. The comments were brutal. "He hit her again. Why she keep going back? Somebody help her before it's too late." It stopped being funny real quick. The memes turned to concern. Even celebrities started weighing in, some calling for her to press charges, others saying she should just walk away before the story ended in tragedy. But walking away was never Chrisean's style. If you know her story, you know this girl came from the mud, fought her way into the spotlight, and refuses to be seen as weak, even when the world's watching her bleed. So instead of hiding, she decided to confront it head-on. That's when word leaked she was heading to Angela's spot, not for a talk, not for closure, but for a showdown. Angela, who had spent months acting like she was just a friend, suddenly went into hiding. She turned off her comments, made her page private, and stopped posting selfies. Too late. The internet already had her location thanks to some detective fan accounts that traced her background decor to a known Airbnb spot in LA. Within hours, people were tweeting, "Chrisean just pulled up." It's going down. Witnesses claim Chrisean didn't come quietly. There were raised voices, yelling, and phones everywhere. One fan said she saw Chrisean pacing back and forth outside like she was about to start a heavyweight match. The crowd gathered fast. Phones out, lights flashing, chaos brewing. Nobody wanted to miss this episode. The footage is still floating around online, shaky and censored, but you can hear her voice crystal clear. "You thought this was sweet, huh?" That one line turned into a meme overnight. People remixed it, added beats, made TikToks reenacting the moment. But what really had everyone's jaw on the floor was the aftermath. Because apparently, before security stepped in, words weren't the only things flying. And suddenly Angela went radio silent. No posts, no lives, no selfies, just gone. Meanwhile, Blueface's reaction was peak Blueface. Denial mixed with arrogance. He hopped on Twitter like nothing happened, tweeting random song lyrics and telling people to mind their business. But fans weren't buying it. Screenshots from his burner account showed him liking comments shading Chrisean. The disrespect was public and the fallout was nuclear. For Chrisean, that was the final straw. She wasn't just angry anymore. She was done being the victim in someone else's circus. And in true Chrisean fashion, she made sure everyone knew it. Hours after the pull-up, she dropped a cryptic message on her story. "You can only hurt me if I let you. And baby, I don't break anymore." The internet went wild. Bloggers wrote think pieces. Fan pages flooded timelines with queen energy posts. Memes labeled Angela as the last temptation of Blueface. It wasn't just drama anymore. It was legend, but behind the posts and headlines, there was a deeper truth. Chrisean wasn't just mad at Blueface, she was humiliated. She defended this man through public fights, arrests, and broken doors. She went from being a star athlete with Olympic dreams to becoming reality TV's most unpredictable storm. Every time she tried to rise, Blueface pulled her back into the chaos. And now, she'd finally realized the man she loved had become the weapon that broke her. The streets started talking. Some said Blueface was spiraling, that his ego couldn't handle Chrisean outshining him. Others believed he was intentionally pushing her to snap just to keep her name tied to his. Either way, it worked. The pull-up was everywhere. Hashtags exploded. TMZ had drones on standby. Zeus Network executives were probably drooling at the idea of turning this into another season of televised trauma. And as the noise grew louder, one thing became clear. This wasn't just a fight between lovers. It was the beginning of an all-out reputation war. Because Chrisean wasn't going to fade quietly into scandal fatigue. She was about to flip her pain into power. She knew what people expected. Another meltdown. Another tearful apology. Another round of back-and-forth toxicity. But this time felt different. You could hear it in her tone, see it in her posture, feel it in the way she stopped explaining herself. The same girl who once fought everyone for Blueface was now ready to fight him. And the craziest part? Angela's silence didn't make things better. It made them worse. Because every hour she stayed quiet, the internet filled in the blanks. Some claimed she was pressing charges, others said she skipped town. But one thing's for sure, Chrisean's pull-up turned the Blueface saga into a full-blown cultural event. By morning, hashtags like "Watch as Chrisean pulled up," "Angela drama," and "Blueface beating" went viral. Everyone had an opinion, everyone had a theory, and everyone was glued to their screens waiting for the next bomb to drop. And knowing Chrisean, the next one was already ticking. By sunrise, the internet wasn't just buzzing, it was boiling. Every gossip page, every podcast, every wannabe journalist was scrambling to drop exclusive updates about the Chrisean Rock vs. Angela saga. You couldn't scroll for 5 seconds without seeing the same shaky video of Chrisean screaming, "You thought this was sweet, huh?" Like it was the national anthem of toxic relationships. It was the national anthem of toxic relationships. Within hours, celebrities started chiming in. Cardi B tweeted a cryptic, "Ain't no peace when the love fake," and the entire fandom took that as confirmation she was Team Chrisean. Summer Walker posted an Instagram story saying, "Some men only know how to love through chaos," and fans translated that as a lyrical middle finger to Blueface. Even Meek Mill jumped in, posting, "That girl need to leave him before the feds do it for her." The public wasn't just watching, they were forming digital armies. But Blueface? The man acted like none of it existed. He was out posting gym selfies, promoting a freestyle, and even uploaded a story saying, "Y'all believe anything." The audacity was Olympic level. Fans were stunned. Some called him a narcissist, others said he was trying to gaslight the whole internet. But Chrisean wasn't staying quiet. She went live again. Makeup smeared, voice raw, but eyes blazing. "Y'all keep asking why I love him," she said. "Maybe because I believed in him when nobody did. But I'm done playing stupid." The comments exploded. Thousands flooded in within seconds. "Finally, sis. He played you too long. Protect your peace." The live stream turned into a full-blown confessional, a mix of heartbreak and empowerment, like watching a phoenix rise out of a pile of designer ashes. Then came the twist no one expected. Angela reappeared. Out of nowhere, she posted a selfie. Fresh hair, sunglasses, captioned, "unbothered." That one word detonated the internet. Unbothered? After allegedly helping wreck the most chaotic relationship in modern hip-hop, the memes were instant. One fan tweeted, "Angela acting like she didn't just survive a drive-by of emotions." Another said, "She's unbothered because she's hiding behind private security." But behind that fake confidence, Angela knew the walls were closing in. Screenshots surfaced showing DMs between her and Blueface dating back months. The receipts were brutal. Late-night messages, heart emojis, even voice notes where Blueface allegedly called Chrisean too emotional to deal with. Fans didn't need a judge. They convicted him in the court of public opinion. The hashtag #JustCancelBlueface trended worldwide. And for once, it wasn't just the usual fan noise. Sponsors started quietly backing away. Playlists removed his songs, and even his upcoming show faced backlash. For years, Blueface had built his brand on chaos, but now it looked like that chaos had finally turned on him. Chrisean's fanbase, the self-proclaimed rock soldiers, were on a mission. They flooded Angela's comment sections, bombed Blueface's pages with broken heart emojis, and even started tagging Zeus Network to give Chrisean her own redemption series. It wasn't just a scandal anymore, it was a movement. The internet had turned heartbreak into activism, but the drama didn't stop there. Just when things seemed to be settling, a new audio clip leaked. TMZ dropped it like a grenade, an alleged phone call between Blueface and a friend where he joked about keeping both of them in check. The audio spread faster than wildfire. In it, you can hear his voice laughing, saying, "They both crazy. I just let them fight for me." That line, instant cultural moment. TikTokers made remixes. Podcasters analyzed it like it was a leaked government tape. And Chrisean, she caught wind of it immediately. Within an hour, she was back online, shaking her head in disbelief. He think it's a joke. He think pain funny. But when karma spin back, it don't laugh. Fans could feel the shift. This wasn't the emotional, impulsive Chrisean they'd seen crying on live before. This was cold, calculated, ready to reclaim her power Chrisean. The type of energy that makes PR teams sweat and exes panic. Then came the interviews. Everyone wanted a piece of the chaos. Podcast hosts begged for exclusives. YouTubers milked the topic dry. But Chrisean played it smart. She let the silence work for her. Every day she stayed quiet, the mystery grew. People started speculating. Was she plotting a lawsuit? A tell-all? A diss track? Meanwhile, Blueface did what he always does. Doubled down on delusion. He posted a clip in the studio previewing a new song that literally included the lyrics, "She pulled up, I pulled out, guess we even?" It was tone-deaf, arrogant, and pure gasoline on an already raging fire. The backlash was instant. Fans called him out for mocking domestic violence. Others said he was exploiting trauma for streams. Angela, on the other hand, tried to rebrand. She went live crying, claiming she never wanted to hurt nobody and that the internet made it worse. But the crocodile tears didn't land. Fans dragged her across every platform. Comments like, "Girl, you knew exactly what you were doing," and "You can't play victim in a mess you created," filled her feed. Her apology was trending for all the wrong reasons. Then came the biggest bombshell yet. Chrisean's inner circle leaked screenshots allegedly showing that she'd been quietly documenting everything for months. Photos, messages, even timestamps of arguments. Word spread that she was talking to legal advisors, not just for herself, but to expose a pattern of abuse and manipulation. The girl who once swung fists was now swinging facts. That revelation changed everything. The tone online shifted from messy gossip to serious concern. People started saying, wait, she might have been trapped in something deeper. News outlets that once mocked her were suddenly calling her brave. The same tabloids that used to post her mugshots were now publishing op-eds about toxic fame and exploitation. The internet was evolving, and for once, it seemed like Chrisean might actually be winning. But in true Blueface fashion, he couldn't stand losing control. He went live, ranting, pacing, trying to flip the script. "She crazy, she lying. Y'all don't know what really happened," he shouted, waving his phone around like a prop in a soap opera. His comments filled with laughing emojis and clown memes. The tide had turned. The audience wasn't laughing with him anymore, they were laughing at him. Then something unexpected happened. Angela finally turned on Blueface too. Out of nowhere, she posted a single tweet, "I was lied to, just like her." That one sentence broke the internet again. The plot twisted like an M. Night Shyamalan finale. The villain and the victim now aligned by the same manipulator. The narrative shifted from rivalry to revelation. For the first time, people started realizing that maybe this wasn't just a love triangle gone wrong. It was a power game. Blueface had been pulling strings, pitting women against each other for clout and control. But his own ego had set the trap he'd fall into. And as that truth sank in, Chrisean's next move hit harder than any punch she'd ever thrown. She announced she was done talking and letting her team handle it. Translation: lawyers were loading up. Blueface might have thought this was another viral episode, but Chrisean just turned his chaos into a case file. The internet exploded with applause. Finally, she's protecting herself. This the glow-up we've been waiting for? Even critics who'd written her off as unstable started calling her resilient. She wasn't just surviving anymore, she was reclaiming the narrative. Meanwhile, Blueface's streams dropped, his followers dipped, and his usual fanbase turned silent. The man who once built an empire on shock value was suddenly the joke of his own circus. Because when you make chaos your brand, eventually, chaos stops selling. It starts collecting. And for the first time in this entire toxic roller coaster, the world wasn't laughing at Chrisean Rock. They were cheering for her. By the time the dust started to settle, the internet was still foaming at the mouth. What began as another messy episode in the never-ending Blueface Chrisean Rock saga had now evolved into something deeper. Something raw, real, and way bigger than just tabloid drama. This was reputation warfare in real time. And guess who was finally winning? Chrisean. For years, people had called her everything from crazy to toxic to impossible. But now, they were calling her what she truly was. Done. The girl who once threw hands for love was finally throwing hands for herself. And for the first time in this chaotic soap opera, the public was actually listening. Media outlets that used to mock her every move were suddenly changing their tone. Headlines shifted from "Chrisean Rock snaps again" to "Chrisean Rock speaks her truth." It was wild. The same world that laughed at her pain was now applauding her healing. Even major platforms started pulling back from Blueface, quietly distancing themselves like rats leaving a sinking ship. Blueface, on the other hand, was spiraling. His live streams were unhinged, his interviews defensive, and his energy desperate. He blamed the media, his fans, even Angela, calling her a liar who made it worse. But deep down, everyone knew the truth. The man who once thrived off chaos was now choking on it, and then came the documentary leaks. Word got out that Chrisean was being approached by production companies, not for another messy reality show, but for a docuseries about survival, fame, and the cost of loving publicly. People couldn't believe it. The same woman who'd once been dragged across the internet was now being courted to tell her side, with full control. The transformation was cinematic. Meanwhile, Angela reappeared one last time, posting a long, emotional caption about forgiveness and lessons learned. The comments section looked like a war zone. Half the people offered sympathy. The other half accused her of faking it to dodge accountability. But the truth was simple. Her role in the scandal was over. The world had moved on from her, and the spotlight was now locked on Chrisean. What came next sealed it. Chrisean made her first official public appearance since the chaos. Not at a party, not on live, but at a charity event for women's shelters. Cameras flashed, reporters swarmed, and for once, the narrative wasn't Chrisean causes trouble. It was Chrisean takes a stand. The visual was powerful. The same woman once branded as a headline hazard now, standing up for others going through the same pain she barely survived. It was poetic. Social media went wild. Fans called it her rebirth arc. Memes popped up comparing her glow-up to an anime protagonist after a final boss fight. Hashtags like Numk Rock Redemption trended for days. People who had never cared about her before were suddenly saying things like, "You know what? She might actually be the realest one out here." Meanwhile, Blueface was left in PR quicksand. Every move he made backfired. He tried to drop a new song addressing the situation, but the lyrics were petty, the vibe off, and the reception brutal. Comments flooded in. This ain't music, this is midlife crisis bars. You lost your girl, your fans, and your dignity. Triple L. Even hip-hop blogs that once hyped him started ignoring his releases entirely. For the first time, the internet wasn't feeding his antics. He'd lost his grip on the one thing he always had. Attention? Because now, the story wasn't about his chaos anymore. It was about her comeback. Behind the scenes, insiders revealed that Chrisean had started cutting ties with toxic contracts, rebuilding her brand, and focusing on her music. She even previewed a new track. Slow, emotional, and raw. The kind that made people stop scrolling and actually listen. The lyrics. You can break my heart, but not my spirit. Fans called it a survivor's anthem. Even celebrities reposted it. The girl who once went viral for fights was now going viral for growth. Angela faded back into obscurity, like a deleted scene nobody cared to rewatch. Blueface, desperate to stay relevant, tried throwing shade in interviews, claiming Chrisean wasn't innocent. But the world had changed. Nobody was buying it. For once, the internet wasn't hungry for mess. They wanted redemption, and Chrisean had become the face of it. The crazy part? Even her critics started giving her credit. Podcasts that once clowned her were now saying, you gotta respect how she flipped the narrative. It was like watching public perception do a full 180, and Blueface couldn't handle it. Every time he posted, the comments were flooded with people reminding him, she's up, you're done. Meanwhile, Chrisean's team teased that she was working on a memoir, not a gossip book, but a deep dive into everything she'd been through behind closed doors. The leaks about it were enough to send shockwaves. Apparently, she wasn't just exposing Blueface's behavior, she was calling out the industry's obsession with exploiting Black women's trauma for entertainment. Suddenly, the story wasn't just scandal, it was social commentary, and that's when it hit everyone. Chrisean Rock, the girl who was once the internet's punching bag, had turned her entire downfall into a blueprint for comeback. She didn't need to scream anymore. The world was finally listening. Her fans celebrated her rise like a victory parade. She survived the circus, one tweet said. Now she owns the tent. The line went viral because it was true. For the first time, Chrisean wasn't just reacting to chaos, she was controlling the story. Every post, every move, every word now carried weight. Then came the interview that broke the internet. She sat down with a major outlet and, for the first time, spoke with calm clarity. No tears, no shouting, just truth. I loved him, she said, but love don't hit. Love don't humiliate. Love don't break your bones or your spirit. I had to choose me. That one line, I had to choose me, became the quote of the year. People tattooed it, turned it into captions, put it on merch. The redemption arc was complete. Blueface? He tried to clap back, but the world had moved on. His bad boy image now looked more like washed-up drama addict. Brands dropped him, promoters ghosted him, and his streams fell off a cliff. The same chaos that made him famous had officially destroyed him. Meanwhile, Chrisean didn't just survive. She thrived. She launched her own clothing line, partnered with organizations against domestic abuse, and teased new music that sounded more mature, more introspective. Every step was proof that the girl the world wrote off as broken had rebuilt herself. Brick by brick, scar by scar. And just when people thought the story was over, she dropped one final bomb, a teaser trailer for her upcoming docuseries. The screen flashed with old clips of her crying, fighting, screaming, and then cut to her new self. Calm, confident, smiling at peace. The final frame read, "You thought you knew me? Now I'll tell you who I am." The internet lost it. Within hours, the trailer hit millions of views. The comments were full of people saying things like, "She flipped her pain into power," and "from toxic to triumphant." Even her harshest, critics had to admit, she'd pulled off the greatest comeback of the decade, because what started as a headline about chaos ended as a story about transformation. Blueface created the storm, but Chrisean learned how to dance in the rain. And while he's still stuck replaying his mistakes, she's busy turning hers into art. The moral of this mess? You can try to break a woman like Chrisean Rock, but you can't bury someone who's already been to hell and built a throne there. She didn't just pull up on Angela that night. She pulled up on every lie, every betrayal, every time the world doubted her. And this time she didn't fight for a man. She fought for her name, and she won. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Chrisean Rock flipped her pain into power, her downfall into dominance, and her chaos into a comeback the entire internet can't stop talking about. From heartbreaks to headlines, from tears to triumph. She turned her scars into strategy and made sure the world remembered her name in bold capital letters. But let's be honest, this story isn't over. Not by a long shot. Because if there's one thing we've learned from the Chrisean and Blueface saga, it's that the drama never dies. It just evolves. The next chapter, it could drop tomorrow, it could explode tonight, or it could be hiding behind another unbothered Instagram caption waiting to detonate. So, before the next twist hits the timeline, do yourself a favor. Smash that like button like it owes you money. Drop a comment letting the world know whose side you're on. And subscribe so you never miss the next bombshell when it drops right here on Scandal Spark. Because let's be real, this channel isn't just reporting gossip. We're decoding the madness. Every leak, every live, every meltdown, we catch it before the blogs do. If you blink, you'll miss the next viral explosion. So stay locked in, because Chrisean just reminded everyone the comeback hits harder than the fall. And if Blueface thought he was the main character, well, the internet just handed the spotlight to someone else. Permanently. This isn't a fairy tale, it's a survival story. And in this era of public chaos, only the loudest, rawest, and realest survive. Welcome to Scandal Spark, where the tea's never cold and the truth always burns. Cold and the truth always burns.